Hey guys, did you know that I have a Patreon where you can support me and plus get awesome rewards? Or if you're thinking to yourself, but Julian, I want even more bang for my buck while still supporting you, you can pop over to my Redbubble and check out my awesome store with new designs appearing regularly. But for now, enjoy the video you're about to watch.
Hey guys, it's me, Julian Greystoke. Maybe looking a little bit washed out because the light outside is very severe. Today guys, I'm wearing my Zombie Crossing shirt because I am finally going to talk to you about the final book in the Newsflesh trilogy, that being Blackout. The links to the other books in this series are in the doobly-doo. I will be spoiling things from the previous two books, guaranteed. So if you don't want to see that, y'all better shoo. In fact, I'm probably going to talk spoilers for this book as well, if I remember correctly, so this is not going to be a spoiler-free review at all for any of it. This is going to get like 2 views. But oh well, I am determined. I am a finisher. When I start something, I finish it. So let's get going here. A big thing right away that I wanted to talk about is how different books 2 and 3 feel from the first book. The first book focused a lot more on the news and sort of what was becoming of the culture of how we get our news in the zombie apocalyptic future. News organizations were very different in this zombie future, and it was all about the minutiae about not only the zombies and the science of them, but also the minutiae of how news was run in that zombie future, which sounds like it would be boring, but I was really into it. And then I guess the author decided it was boring too because books 2 and 3 have almost nothing to do with any of that. In book 2, they would occasionally be like, oh yeah, we are a well-respected news source, so we should probably put out some kind of story. But then book 3 just threw that all out the window. I picked up these books because they seem like such an original idea and a new take on the zombie apocalypse, and they just turned into something so boring and average. There's something about my framing here, I don't even know. Dissatisfied with it today, just like I'm dissatisfied with this book. In this book, the main character from the last book, that being Georgia Mason, who had one of my favorite book deaths of all time, her death was so perfect and so well done, and I would hold it up as an example of how and when to kill a main character. She's back. She's a clone, and she's back. And I just hate it. I hate it. And it feels like the author brought her back because the author couldn't figure out how to write a different character. Like, write a new character to be in her position. So she's just like, yep, cloning is a thing in this world, and Georgia is back. Why? The reason they give is really stupid. Like, all of these books require suspense of disbelief. And I was ready to do that for book 1, and I was still willing to do that a little bit in book 2, but this book annoyed me so much that I was like, no, I'm done. My good graces are gone, my disbelief is no longer suspended. And as I predicted in the second book, the brother-sister romance is cemented in this one, and it is just nope, 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 nobody, nope, nope, no. I hate. This is a trope I should have mentioned in my Tropes I Hate video. Brothers and sisters who get together. I know they're adopted brothers and sisters. I know they have no genetic link to each other. It even mentions that they checked, that they actually got like a DNA test to make sure that they were not actually related, and they're not. But I don't care. Adopted brothers and sisters are still brothers and sisters, and I hate seeing that stupid romance cliche where a brother and sister fall in love with each other. I could pretend it was just a really close, a really close bond, and they were the only ones who were ever there for each other because they were brother and sister. But this book finally put its foot down and said, no, they had a sexual relationship. I powered through this book because it was the last one and I was very determined to review it. But otherwise, I would have just set it down. The writing in these books has always been clunky, telly, repetitive, but I was willing to forgive, and you don't notice it as much if you're actually enjoying the story. But as I was not enjoying the story in this book, I was not into the writing style either. All of the side characters are once again very indistinct. I kept forgetting who was who, and they didn't really have strong personalities. It seemed like the author only really cared about the two main characters and their weird relationship, and I just wasn't into it. This book really didn't have, like I said, the two things that drew me into book one. It didn't really have very much with zombies, and it didn't have anything to do with the news. It's all about clones now and government conspiracies, and I'm like, but zombies? You can have those things with zombies. Did we forget the zombies are even here? We kind of did. Yes, that's the answer. Yes, we kind of did. I felt like with the sexual brother and sister relationship that, again, this author just could not imagine how a relationship would be super strong unless it was a romantic relationship. And that's always a super annoying thing that bothers me when writers just cannot understand how people could have a very close relationship without it being romantic. Friendships exist. Sibling relationships exist. Stop belittling them as useless and not as good as a romantic relationship. This book gets 1 point from me. 1. And that is because NPR still exists in this world. That's it. That's all this book gets, but the one thing. This book just meanders around. I wrote down, this is the book that doesn't end. I had it on my MP3 player because I listen to books. That's mostly what I have to do nowadays because of my work schedule and all of that. So I was listening to it and I had it on like double speed or whatever, and it was chipmunking along and it was still just taking forever. And there was no feeling of a really deep central conflict. Like there was things happening, but I never understood exactly why they were happening. What are we driving towards? Characters just keep going around from point to point. Like they'll get to, it's like a video game where they get to this point and somebody's like, okay, go to the next level. Okay, next level, they go over here. Eventually they meet up. But what is the overarching story? There isn't really one. The CDC bad. Maybe. What? The characters need to have reasons to go places and thoughts about what they're doing. Authors, if you're paying attention, those are important things you need to include in your book. Oh boy, okay. The male lead character, the brother, is now immune to the zombie virus because he had sex with his sister. And there are these things called reservoir conditions where the virus, which everybody has, everyone has the zombie virus, but it can sort of activate, but not all the way in some people, which causes what's called a reservoir condition, which is cool. This is all stuff from the first book, where Georgia, the female character, had, her pupils were always dilated. And so she had to wear special glasses and everything, and all of the, like, she'd go through zombie virus screenings and they all go off because she had this, the active virus sort of in her system. Whatever, that was a cool thing, it was a cool little factor, but now the author decided that people who have sex with people with reservoir conditions are now immune to the zombie virus. Not the people with the reservoir conditions, the people who have sex with the people with reservoir conditions. And then apparently I wrote that this book tries to tie back to the first book like it was intended all along, which obviously didn't work. I think I remember what the tie back was. They were like, at the end, they were like, and all of this, we will now disseminate all of this information that we have gathered and take down this corrupt government because we are the biggest news organization, the most trusted news organization, who hasn't actually done any news reporting since the first book. So why would anyone trust you anymore? You basically banished and posted fluff pieces for months, if not years. I'm still salty. I'm sitting here being very salty right now. And look, Jane is here, and even his snuggly presence cannot keep my salt at bay. Those are my thoughts. Have you read the News Flesh trilogy? Am I the only one? What did you think about them? Did you think that this book was as big of a hot mess as I did? Did you ship the two main characters with each other even though they were siblings? Comment below and let me know if you did any of that. As you all know, I post new videos here Mondays and Fridays. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo along with everything else. The known world is probably linked in the doobly-doo. This is why future me always hates past me. How many links? All of them. Good. Yes, thank you. And of course, if you liked what you saw here today and wish that it was higher quality, you can support me on Patreon. All of the donations that I receive on Patreon will go towards getting me better equipment. Yay! And I will see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
What's up, everybody? It is shout out time. Time to shout out to my very first patron, Kim. And if you want to be cool like Kim, become a patron over on Patreon.